I met them about 2 years ago in NHS Chef 22. And what we're doing today is a bit of a kind of a medley of one of their dishes. So, Les, we are doing a cauliflower. I'll let Les go into a bit more detail around that. But what we're doing with the cauliflower, we're going to repurpose the whole item, and we're going to turn it into a dish which obviously could be in your retail offering or within patient feeding. Really, really universal. It's great tasting, and we're going to hopefully talk about some of the techniques we've done here. So, Les?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, so what we're doing today with the cauliflower, how many different ways?
7.
7. And obviously...
So the humble cauliflower, you'll see it.
Yep.
You normally just eat that bit and bin that bit, but today we use all of it in every different way.
And obviously some of the processes we've used a core in the centre to make a puree. And this dish is really universal because obviously you can remove every allergen. The only allergen we've got in here is sulfites because of the pickle. But if you don't want to use any kind of vinegar, you can use lemon to help cure the stem. So do you want to talk through some of the processes?
Yeah, so the cauliflower, the leaves, everything bins, the stalks. So what we've done today, we've took the leaves and we made some crisps out of them. So the garnish and things. The actual stalk of the leaf, we've pickled and trimmed down to go into the, dress it off with the cauliflower rice. So we made some basic cauliflower rice, so you can just shred the cauliflower, a peeler or a grater or a little knife. So we'll have a little like fresh wall garnish. And then we got pickling juice that we saved for the dressing. Also, in one of the purees is like a bang de burger. So it's like a roast aubergine thing, but we converted it to the cauliflower today. So we've taken the inner stalk to make the purees. We also have a coconut and cauliflower puree, so to make this all plant-based. In the kitchen, we also had stalks, so we made a herb oil out of all the leftover herbs. Yeah, onwards and upwards.
And obviously this dish has evolved from 22. So originally it was a plant-based dish, which they actually won the plant-based challenge. So it was quite out of their comfort zone. And their mentor advised them on how to repurpose an aubergine. That dish has evolved over the last 2 years. It was done obviously in 22. We did it at the House of Commons as a cold dish, served to distinguished guests. And then last year, it was reinvented again from the starter, main, plant-based main, and dessert. So every element was used. So from the coconut cream, that went into their pudding. The cauliflower pickle went onto their dal. So it's a really universal dish, and you can pack so much flavour. Obviously, they've done the banga.
Yeah.
I can never say that.
Yeah.
And because we've used spices in there, obviously we've no added salt, so it's really good in terms of the spices that we use for digestion and so forth. So it really adds a good balance. You don't need a lot, but you can have it on its own or with something really unique. And obviously the cauliflower really sets it off. So prior to coming, obviously you've part-cooked the cauliflower.
So yeah, so the cauliflower is stripped down to get the elements off it. The steak itself, it's had 7 minutes in the steamer, and then it's been marinated for 24 hours. Yep. So you've got an aromix in there. So the moment Josh is just kind of get some sear on it, get the colour on it, get the spices lifted, and go in there and roast it off. We also got the florets that have been roasted lightly, and that'll go back to the oven today with just a basic curry oil to infuse it. And then the other elements we had to make off because obviously timing issues, pickling things for 48 hours, making little dressings. This dish has evolved, 5 times now?
Yep.
And each time we just keep building different elements off it, so it's a great experiment. I'm not wondering what to do it next though. So.
Yeah, and obviously the pickling liquor that we've used to pickle the leaf, that's made the dressing. So instead of adding extra lemon juice or so forth, we've actually used the pickling liquor. So it's a full circle of life for every product used within that dish, which is quite unique. It's great on its own as a plant-based or vegetarian, but it could be in a complement to a meat or fish dish, so it's really, really user-friendly. And in terms of price, it is a really cheap dish. I think we got this down to about 78p a portion, and that's repurposing that. So obviously, in terms of skill, really adaptable. This is going to be on our national menu bank as well. So yeah. So how's the sealing going?
Yeah, so Josh sealed off the first one, it's in the oven. Second there, someone didn't bring 2 pans, did they? So slowing it right down, unfortunately. But you've got all day, don't worry. Well, you're on till what, 7, 8 tonight?
Yeah.
Do a little sing-song if you want.
No, not that close.
So obviously, I don't know if any of you have entered teams into NHS Chef. I know quite a few of you have. Part of the NHS Chef development, or NHS Chef competition, is about development. I met these two in 22, as well as Erica and Shelley. And I think for me, it's a way of giving back to our catering teams. It's a way of educating, and this year, last week, we had our mentoring, and we had teams from, obviously, Kings Lynn come, we've had teams from the Isle of Wight come, who didn't qualify for the finals, but it's a real engagement, and we're here to support you. These guys can probably give you a bit more in-depth of what they've learned. Obviously, they're big ambassadors for Sodexo. You've won a couple of awards, haven't you?
Yeah, we managed to go to the Sodexo award account, got on stage with everyone and got told that we didn't win.
Yeah.
And then got stepped down, so we,
Yeah,
that was quite a
Vernon
good
Kay
night.
invited him up, they didn't win an award, so they had to give him an award in front of 1,000 people.
That was,
Liverpool?
yeah, but who win?
Liverpool, yeah, that was Liverpool.
Yeah. And obviously, what's been your biggest highlight in the last 2 years?
The development.
Yeah.
So you work in hospitals, you see everything going around you. We're not a fresh cook for patients, but we are for all the staff since COVID. So that gets us to expand the kitchen and build out, so the staff are eating good food in their breaks and stuff. We want to push development things into different areas. So I think we're looking at children's at the moment, which we brought back from doing all the competitions.
Yeah.
We're only standing here today because of the competition. We only stood in the Houses of Commons because of the competition. Like, our world's opened up to different things and the way you think. So like dysphagia this morning, wouldn't even think about that in the commercial world, but now I work in a healthcare world. You know, to me it's like decorating cakes, isn't it? It's having fun making things. So that's what I want to get into next.
So would you recommend joining forces with NHS England, entering the competition? Any opportunities, would you take them?
Absolutely,
100%.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise it's just a day-to-day job. So going to these other things and learning what everyone else is doing in the world and sharing that knowledge brings you closer to where you want to be.
Yeah.
If someone else is doing it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Why can't, so that's why we move things around.
And I think that's a really key point at the end of the day. You know, you have got to enjoy cooking first of all. You know, we're all here to make a difference. You know, I work with colleagues up and down the country. They don't necessarily work for me because I don't think that way. We're working together, and you guys are at the heart of that. Sharing of information, collaborating, getting them involved, working in partnership, sharing our bad experiences, sharing our positive ones, and together we are making a massive difference. You know, look at how many people are here today. You know, it's a bigger turnout than probably expected. So that's a credit to you guys because you want to lead the way forward. Are we looking on that?
We're about a minute or so before the oven,
Okay.
so not quite there yet, but we will be, sorry.
It's all right. I know I only brought one pan. So obviously, over the last couple of years, they've had quite strict resources within their trust, and it's a bit of a dated kitchen. Do you want to talk about some of the new concepts that are ongoing at the moment?
Yeah, so there's a new fantastic kitchen that might be developed in Hereford that would be
Dark kitchen?
they changed their name. What do you call the first one?
Which one?
Oh, a pilot site, sorry, yeah. So like, Hereford's going to be a pilot site for Sodexo, and if it works off, they'll move it through the hospital sites they've got. So basically, we're going to get rid of the counter, so half the staff are waiting 15, 20 minutes on their break to get food, takes out their day. So the concept is everything's going to be fresh cooked from the kitchen, laned up, and then you'll have an app on your phone. So from the bus ride or the walk to work in the morning, you can choose what you want for lunch, and at that time slot, you can walk into the restaurant and be sat there ready for you. It's the concept of basically, as we're doing like Uber Eats and things
It's
like that.
Deliveroo, Uber
Yeah,
Eats.
but inside the hospital. So instead of everyone just like buying from outside, buy from in. So that's the staff engaging in that. Also, if someone's at the bed and people want some coffees or something, they can shoot down, pick up 10 coffees, come straight up. It's about trying to get everything to everyone at once without people waiting around. So it's going to be a good, exciting thing. New restaurants going in, new concept, new design.
And obviously, for the banga barker for this dish, what have you put in there today?
Yeah, so the basics in that is a blend of, so we've got cumin, coriander, turmeric, and curry. Make a little paste out of that, and you just roast that down. So where with the banga burger, you use the aubergine, you roast all the flesh and things. You just have to make all the cauliflower puree off this one.
Yeah, nice. Nice tasting dish.
Yeah, it's changed,
100% vegan.
Yeah, 100% vegan, and obviously it's allergen free, so it's really, really adaptable. And any recipes that you need any support with, obviously get in touch with us. Obviously we've got the National Menu Bank, which obviously we're piloting at the moment. And yeah, so obviously what Josh is doing there.
Yeah, so what Josh is doing now is we just got our elements. So we're taking the cauliflower rice, and then what we're doing then, we're adding a bit of fresh lemon, the coriander, the pickled stalks, and some of our herb oil. So we drop a bit of herb oil in it too, just to lace that off. Obviously got the pickling liquor, which we can use many times for things, for dressings. And that's going to go over the top of it. We're just waiting on the cauliflower to come out, and the puree is on the stove at the moment.
What do you reckon, halfway there?
We're halfway there. Whoa! Living on a prayer.
That's for you, Tim.
Just for Tim.
He loves that, he loves that.
So in the competition, Tim liked to get a spoon and bang it and scare everyone. And every day he'd go, oh, we're halfway there. And Josh would go, whoa! And then the whole kitchen explodes for like 3 seconds and then goes quiet again. So, Tim, that's to you. Thank you very much.
But, you know, food brings us all together. You know, at the end of the day, we might not necessarily like some food that someone makes, but it's about engagement. You know, we like different things to food to our patients. However, the patient has to come first. I think it's really important that we do listen to them, and obviously what these guys have done in their trust and what many of you have, you've engaged with that patient. You know, putting them first is really, really important, and we've seen that through obviously the feedback we're getting, obviously in terms of the pilot trials in plates and so forth. You know, and that's down to you guys being involved, and I think that's really important. And obviously the guys here today, they're going to plate a couple of portions. By all means, you can try it if you want. If you want the recipe as well, we can share that with you. It just opens up other opportunities. Whether you're doing this with a cauliflower, you could do it with a celeriac, you could do it with a broccoli, pretty much anything. You know, it's just adapting it. You know, and like I say, this dish has evolved 4 or 5 times from when it first started. And I think this one's the best one, to be honest with you.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. It's putting the elements better, yeah. I think you could just use all of that into a dish for pennies, and it's a lovely dish.
Yeah, because we all use cauliflower, don't
always
we?
need meat to you.
Yeah.
All right, we're
So we start in plating?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So how do we plate? What goes first?
So we're going to start off with the cauliflower and coconut puree on the bottom. Then the steak's going to sit on top of that. So that keeps it there, keeps the movements when you're carrying plates and things, it's not sliding everywhere, because you don't want to make that food look like a picture, and when it gets to the table, it looks like someone's dropped it. So that's the elements of that. So we're going to start off with the cauliflower puree, probably just the middle, just make a nice little bed for it to sit on.
And even if you're doing this at bulk service, as long as you've got the elements there, because quite a few are cold, quite a few are warm, it's quite easy. You know, it's just spoons, it's less movement as long as you've got all the elements there.
Get a little conveyor belt going, it's quite quick.
Yeah, and you could even have it built up so it slides straight onto the plate. Nice.
Back to you,
Steaks
Chef.
ready, coming out.
It's got a cloth you want to stick it on. Come on.
Okay. So obviously, yes, they've done the cauliflower puree on the bottom. That's done in coconut milk. You could use any other milk if you wanted to. However, you could almost use water as well. I think when we originally tried this dish, you could put turmeric in there, so you can make it a yellow puree.
Sorry, 2 seconds, someone's nicked the spatula.
Then, he's wanting a knife wrap. Then we've got obviously the cauliflower steak, so roughly you're getting about 4 to 5 steaks off the cauliflower. Any of the florets that fall off, we've just roasted in a few of the spices that we've put through the banga. Then all the trimmings gone into the banga. The crisps have just been done in the oven, just by a little bit of oil and just baking them between 2 gastro trays for 18 minutes at 180. The pickled leaf, we've brought a pickled liquor to the surface in boiling, dropped the leaves in, just left them to go cold, and then we've chiffonaded them and then diced them. So some of that leaf, or some of that stem goes in the cauliflower rice.
Right, so we've got the cauliflower steak sat in the middle now, presentation. So the florets sticking out, nice bit of colour on the cauliflower. This is the cauliflower bang de burger, so we're just going to put some elements around it to help the salad stick to it. You can pipe it on the plate, you can take it out. You can
almost use like a pate, couldn't you?
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So one element can be used multiple times. So whether we're looking at food waste or different dishes, it's really, really adaptable. You know, like that would go well with a nice piece of fish. As you know, as a puree, whether it's mackerel or salmon, eats really well. And yeah, obviously no salt, great flavour.
So we've got the cauliflower rice, which has got, again, got that dressed off with the pickled stalks, a bit of lemon and some coriander. So we're just going to let you scatter it over the top. We'll stick to it, brings a little crunch to the dish.
Yeah, so you've got so many different textures. You've got a creamy puree, a char-grilled, almost roasted steak. You've got spice from the banga. You've got cauliflower rice, which gives it a bit of zest. Then you've got the crisp to give it crunch. And then you've got
some tomato concasse, so it brings the freshness back to the dish again.
Yeah,
the
obviously.
textures are high.
And the flesh of tomato went in the curry?
Yeah, so we used the whole tomato, the skins and the flesh went into the curry, so that's no waste there. You can make little tomato crisps as well.
And you tried that, didn't you? Let's be honest.
Right, so we tried it, and then someone thought it was an empty tray and just put it through pot wash. So
it's always happened.
And I burnt them first as well.
Oh yeah, the first round, Josh burnt them, and then I made them again last night.
Talking.
But that comes with practice at the end of the day, and it comes with people knowing what.
Well, the oven was too high,
use.
so we put the oven temperature down, give it a bit longer. So I just put some tomato on there. I got some fresh pomegranates, You know, they're that little crunch again, brings the fruitness and sweetness to it. Because obviously got the spice, it's quite high. You've got the creaminess from the coconut. So we just bring the elements back down again.
Yep.
And then we're going to finish off with a drizzle of the herb oil.
Crisps and
Yeah.
So everything's been repurposed from your old herbs. If you've got spinach, you can blend it down into a puree.
It's still got the nice greenness to it, so we just let it hang overnight in the fridge and let it drip dry. Don't force it through, so you keep the colours. And obviously enhances as you keep it, the flavour just keeps getting stronger.
And that pickling liquor's gone back in there, so as well as pickling the stem, it's gone into the actual dressing. So everything is
So
full circle.
We've got a new element as well. So
Yeah.
we're playing with beetroot on the weekend. So I made a beetroot glaze. So we cooked some beetroot, got that red lovely water. We have to put it down the sink. Just take some out, reduce it with a bit of sugar. Just a little bit to make it thick enough like a caramel, which also makes the plate pop on these amazing Churchill blue plates. Is that right, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really important when you frame your food, you want it to stand out.
What for?
Obviously, Mr. Radcliffe is doing lots of pilots at the moment, and these plates we're using throughout our competition this year, and I know obviously there are other suppliers, but it really tells a story.
I almost missed the extra little crispy cauliflower florets, so without wasting them, roast them down.
You know, and when you look at this dish in a second, I think we could all agree that you'd like to eat it. You know, when we tried it a couple of weeks ago, it was really tasty. You know, I'd rather have that at the moment than a steak because you can taste every element. So if you want to grab a knife and fork, by all means.
Everyone gets bored of the cauliflower and then they think, oh, it's this, but this does change it.
And as you can tell, we don't like waste. Look at the size of meat.
So there's
Like
no
to eat
waste.
everything.
That's it.
Right, and then obviously that nice sharp leaf.
Break them.
Looks like you can see through it. That's obviously waste that you can see in the restaurant, things like that. It's a little bit of garnish, stands out, makes the plate pop again.
You can serve that as a side.
You can break them down a little bit, put little fillets around. You can have one big one in the plate in the middle. It's however you feel, really. You can change it however you want every day of the week. No one's eating it every day, so you play with it. You make it how you feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I
me
think
show
that's
one?
it.
And that
So, I don't
is
know
our
the camera.
cauliflower. Can you see that?
That's the humble cauliflower with some extra bits.
Easy enough. Anyone want to try?
Thank you very much.
Come on, lads.
Oh, well done.
Good job, boys. It went out, was it?
I don't say much at all.